Thank you, Susan, for that kind introduction. I am honored to be here. I should probably say here that you should never apply to be a TEDx speaker in a fit of rage, because they may pick you. And then you find yourself in a room full of strangers talking about some issue of importance to you. Clearly, I didn't take my own advice, so here I am. All right. This is my friend Blake. Blake is 18 and a senior in high school. He's your typical high school boy. He likes music and dancing. We like to go out for wings together, and we go to funny movies together, too. In the spring, Blake's going to be graduating from Lincoln Southwest High School, and he's got a lot of cool plans for his life. Take a minute to look at this picture and imagine what his future may look like. This is Blake at my wedding a few months ago. Now, does that suddenly change what you may have thought about Blake and his future? Did you suddenly change your plan for him to go to college, to live independently, to have a family? Don't feel bad. You're in the majority. And because this is a problem, is what causes that fit of rage thing for me. Those assumptions and limitations that people throw on Blake, who, by the way, has cerebral palsy, are the only things that are limiting Blake. He doesn't limit himself. He doesn't let cerebral palsy define him or put up barriers for his future. It's the attitude of others that limit Blake, not his disabilities. What I want to do today is shift your thinking, your perceptions, and your emotions about people with disabilities. We don't want pity. We don't want to be patronized. What we do want is to be treated as people first. Yes, that is right. We. Unlike Blake, whose disability is telegraphed to you by his wheelchair, and perhaps by the way of his speaking, my disability is hidden. Blake has lived with his disability his entire life. I acquired mine. So while it's invisible to you, it's there, and it's permanent, and it has affected my life and my family's lives. So listen to my story, the story of Lily. I am a lucky girl. I was born into a wonderful, supportive family with awesome parents who have always loved me. I have a fantastic older sister and an equally fantastic younger brother. We're all smart, good-looking, fun, athletic, popular, involved, and engaged with the world. We could be in ads, we're so picture perfect. But there's a little smudge on that picture of perfection. That smudge, which grew into a giant, messy blob, started when I was 13 and I was playing competitive basketball. I took a hard, uncalled, blatant foul, an elbow to the side of the head. I went down and was unconscious for several minutes. After the game, I ended up in the emergency room. They did a brain scan, said I didn't have a brain bleed, so don't worry, she'll be fine. Except I wasn't. I was out of school for more than a week. Sorry, memory's an issue. I was out of school for more than a week. When I went back, I immediately knew something was wrong. I vividly remember kind of panicking in my 8th grade algebra class because I could not follow what was going on. I thought to myself, I am so far behind from being out of class. But no matter how much I tried, nothing was clicking. Nothing. It was as if the words on the board just no longer could get into my head. What was strange was that I had been previously labeled academically competitive and gifted. I was in advanced math and other courses, but it was as if the words and numbers had become foreign symbols. I told my mother I hated to read. Hated to read? Reading had always been my favorite thing. My IQ dropped 40 points. I went from gifted to failing. My freshman year was actually worse, if you could believe it. I transferred schools for a semester. an entire semester that I do not remember at all. When I transferred back, my things were no better. In fact, they were worse. I suffered 3 more concussions. I was in a car accident where I broke out a window with my head, and 2 from being hit in the head by classmates at school. If this were a mystery novel, here's kind of a red herring. I started exhibiting a lot of behavior consistent with mental illness. There were 2 hospitalizations for suicidal thoughts. I was put on a lot of medication to manage my various issues, but mostly they made me feel like a zombie. I was labeled bipolar, depressed, anxious, manic, withdrawing, and suicidal. My frantic parents thought that maybe I wasn't ever going to be able to live independently or even graduate high school. They started looking at ways to set up legal protections and trust for me. They thought maybe I wasn't even going to live. Luckily, around the same time, my mother took a job at Madonna Rehabilitation Hospital. There, she had a conversation with one of the lead scientists, a brain specialist. She suggested that I come in and be evaluated. And after 2 of the most grueling days of my life, where I was asked to do test after test, the diagnosis came back. I have a traumatic brain injury caused by repeated concussions. This was the turning point for my parents because it gave them an answer and a reason for hope. For me, it just felt like another label, a label that I didn't really want. I used to be Lily. I used to be smart Lily, athlete Lily. And then I was bipolar disorder Lily, and now brain injury Lily. But what I really, really wanted was to just go back to being Lily. I started attending some programs through Madonna where I learned how to sense my body in space again and cope with my memory losses. I did speech and language therapy. I did a lot of work with a psychiatrist, and I got special glasses that eliminated the double vision. Okay. I think for the turning point for me was actually getting out of high school. One of the best days of my life was realizing the day before graduation that I had, with the help of many, passed a math course, and I would actually get my diploma. Felt good. After graduation, a friend of mine suggested that I check out Camp Easter Seals. There, people with disabilities of all sorts and all ages get to experience camp just like their peers. We fish and swim, we ride horses, and we dance. This is a week of complete freedom and independence. My time as a participant at Camp Easter Seals gave me back my swagger. I loved it so much that now I run it. I am the director of Camp, Respite, and Recreation for Easter Seals. And this is where I realized my life purpose. Showing people that everybody has the chance to live life in a barrier-free setting if we can just see people as people and not their labels. So, do you remember Blake from the beginning of my talk? My friend who maybe you thought differently about him when you saw his picture. Blake was an usher in my wedding in September. Several of my attendants have disabilities of some sort, but I don't even notice that about them. They are just my friends, people who I cherish and care for deeply. And because I love them so much, it hurts me to see others look at them with pity, with judgment, or who talk to them in baby talk or don't talk to them at all. Sometimes when I'm out with Blake, people ask me, what would Blake like for lunch? And I say, I don't know, ask Blake. Or, Blake, what would you like? So, here's my advice. If you see someone in a wheelchair, talk to them. Shake their hand. Engage them. It's much better than totally disregarding them, even if they have someone with them. I know these interactions can be uncomfortable, but they don't have to be. Just like me, Blake has dreams and goals. And just like me, he's going to achieve them. My brain injury had a ripple effect to me, to my family, and hopefully to you. My hope is that my story has changed what you may have thought about people with disabilities and how it is the barriers, not the disabilities, that set the limits. I have one more addition to the story of Lily. I am now a TEDx alumna.